All right, guys, don't go anywhere just yet. We do have question and answer segment with all of our speakers. So if we could get our 3 speakers back there to come back up, bring a chair with you, BYOC. And we are going to get to the question and answer portion of this. So by a quick show of hands, who does have a question that they would want to get out there? We got one from Braden. We got one down there, another one down there, another one back there with John, 3 over here. Cool. So we do have about 20, 25 minutes. So we are running about right on time. So we're going to have Mr. Brett Kramer doing the mic running for us. So we'll go ahead and start over here with this lady right down here in the second row. So if we can make sure that those handhelds are hot. Let's go ahead, have you stand up, say who your question is for, and we'll get this thing rolling.
Hi, this is for Alicia. So my biggest problem with the flatware is when customers come up and they have never heard of Cutco before, and they're like, well, how much is this? And I don't really know how to not tell them the price because they're asking for it, but I don't want them to like get mad at me because that's what they want to know. But then I'm like, well, can I tell you why about it? And they're like, no. Like I scare them away. So how would you handle that when they come up?
Yeah, that's a great question. That happens. You guys have probably all had that happen to you as well. I think it sounds like you're doing the right thing. You try and deflect it a bit. Well, have you heard of Cutco before? No. Can I tell you a little bit about it? And if they want to learn about it, then you just dive into the key points about being American-made, being around 70 years, and we're a full-on kitchen company. And then why are you asking? Are you looking for some nice flatware? You can deflect it and try and dive into the approach. But then there's times where there's customers that are like, just tell me the price. It's like, well, it's not cheap, Mrs. Jones. You want a chair for this real quick? Kind of make it fun. But sometimes you just got to dive into the price and tell them, yep, this is retails for like $2,000. Do you want me to tell you why? And if they stay around after that, you're probably going to close the flatware. If they walk away, let them walk away. Yeah.
All right, cool. So we're going to have another question. Yeah, another one of those things is like, as Cutco reps, like, don't be afraid of the price. Like, it's okay. And actually, like, with the flatware especially, like Alicia was saying, like, it's one of the biggest discounts that we do. So there's a real advantage to throwing out that $2,400 number and then building all the value with it and then dropping the actual price. Like, there's a lot to be said for that. So let's go with Vernon B. Williams V. And then we'll keep it moving on this way.
Good morning. This is for Mr. Kinzer. Can't see you because the speaker's in the way. Love you, by the way. So with cookware, I'm just curious. It's not, I guess, a huge deal, but when you do have like other like cookware reps from other companies come up and just say how our stuff isn't made in West Bend or their stuff is better, I'm just curious to see how you would handle that. Or if you just say, okay, and just let them walk away.
So, again, I'm not interested in somebody who's not interested in my product. I'm like, if they're like, oh, this, I'm like, cool. Are you interested? Like, it's like if they're not interested, or I'm like, I'm not here to talk to somebody who's not interested in buying it, right? So, it's some people are like, oh man, like I really want to handle this 10% objection. I'm like, no. Freaking move on to the next person. Like if you have somebody that's like no, everything sticks. Like every single thing, like they're just challenging. Like, it's not really made in West Bend, like Wisconsin. I'm like, well, it is. Like I don't know what to tell you, man. You can think what you think, but I've actually like seen the factory, right? I actually, I know that it is for a fact. So, there's always going to be people that are like want to challenge or want to like, be confrontational or want to do this, and I'm always just like, hey, like that's great, man. Have a great day. And it's like, I had a guy that was like, oh, man, it's just so expensive. I'm like, yeah, it is. I'm like, good stuff isn't cheap and cheap stuff isn't good. You get what you pay for. When you buy quality, you only cry once. Right? When you buy quality, you only cry once. Right? My dad always told me he can't afford to buy cheap stuff. Because you'll either pay for it over the course of your life or you'll pay for it all at once. Right? When you buy quality, you only cry once, and it's worth it. Right? Without our health, we have nothing.
All right. Thank you. Awesome. Thank you very much. Let's go ahead. We'll move over here and then come down to Braden.
Got a question for Seth on the cookware. One thing that I have kind of noticed is when, especially at key events, when it's really busy, I'll get a customer asking about cookware, and I'll spend a lot of time on it. I guess how do you, or what kind of questions do you ask to like more quickly sell the cookware, or just like gauge like the customer to not spend a lot of time on them? Because sometimes I feel like I've missed a lot of other potential knife set sales talking about cookware for a long time with somebody who walked up to ask about it.
Yeah. So one is like, do you have a tight 8-minute cookware pitch where you are closing on them in 8 minutes or less, right? You will have that script in your email by the end of the day, right? Are you going to study that tool? 2, are you asking good quality questions to gauge their interest level, right? People sometimes just come up and they go like, oh, like I didn't know Cutco had cookware, and like, absolutely. And instead of going right into a pitch for 8 minutes, you go, yeah, like what's your guys' pots and pans situation right now? Just kind of that all-American set. Are you guys in the market to replace what you guys already have? Because I'll tell you, if you are at all remotely considering it, we have some amazing specials here. And the cookware will literally change your life. Now, is your wife here with you? Right? Why? Because I don't want to sit there and do a pitch for a dude for 8 minutes and then be like, oh, cool, like, well, I'll think about it. Like, oh, sir, you don't want to keep this in your mind. You want to keep it in your cupboard. Right? Doesn't do any good in your mind. You want to keep it in your cupboard. Right? Let me help you get it. Let me help you figure out why this is the best stuff and why this is worth it, why you should invest today versus waiting 5, 10, 15 years. When's the best time to have bought this cookware? 50 years ago. But since you can't buy it 50 years ago, when should you buy it? Right freaking now. So ask good quality questions. Again, somebody walks up and is like, oh, how much is the flatware? Deflect. Try to build a little value in it. But I'm just like, oh, it's $2,400 that's $2,400 worth of flatware right there. Why? Because if they're like, oh, wow, that's really expensive. Hey, by the way, like, why do you ask? Are you in the market to replace good flatware? Your flatware? Are you in the market to replace your cookware? Or are you just kind of generally curious? That's a great question to ask. Oh, I didn't know Cutco. Like, tell me about your cookware. Like, oh, yeah, absolutely. Our cookware is amazing. It's actually one of Cutco's original products, but it's our best kept secret. Have you guys been thinking about replacing your cookware? Or like, do you guys hate the pots and pans you guys have at home? Ask quality questions before just going, what? Boom. Let me just spew 8 minutes worth of content at you. And then he's like, oh, yeah, cool, thanks. Yeah, I was just kind of curious. Oh, wow, like I forgot the cardinal rule of what? Asking a quality question that's going to lead to what? A quality interaction.
All right, let's get the mic down here for Mr. Braden Campbell. Right here, front row. Yeah, you can just slide down there.
So this is a cookware question, and any one of the 4 of you actually can answer this, or anybody that stores a legacy cookware set at the booth. What are the best practices that you have for, A, getting it in your car? Like, did you have to eliminate something, or like I don't know, it feels like it's hard to, put in your car, first of all. And second of all, how do you keep it nice and shiny and still impressive?
Spend $20 and buy pillowcases for everything, right? $20, right? You go to Walmart, Target, whatever. $20, get a bunch of pillowcases, put it in there. Like, again, this is your store. Your store needs to look good and clean and shiny, right? Like, the good news is it is built like a tank, but at the same time, too, if you want to sell more of it, you want it to what? Look impressive. You want it to look expensive. Not be all fingerprinted, all dented, all scratched up, right? You want it to look like an impressive, expensive investment. I have a tub that's just cookware and flatware. It's a flatware chest and cookware in there. I can fit the whole legacy thing in one tub. The black and yellow tubs. That's like what I feel like every person uses. It's amazing. Like that full set. When you get good at Cutco jigsaw puzzles, like the whole set will fit in there, right? So yeah, invest in the pillowcases. Invest in the whole cookware set. You will sell. Again, it takes one to one, to make your money back, and two, to be profitable.
Pillowcases are great, but also, I don't know if Mike Dawood's in the room. He started selling fitted like cloths for each pot, and they're labeled, so that's what I got. And they're a little more expensive than pillowcases, but I love them. Keeps them shiny, easy to, like if people are helping me break down, they're all labeled, makes it nice. But yeah, all in one tub, as you call it. That's what I do. Yeah.
Yes. All right. Awesome. Cool. So I know we had a few questions over here. Let's go to these four folks. We'll just hit them right in a row. So yeah, we can start there.
Flatware question. Objection. Doesn't feel right. I have kids. They lose it. I don't need it.
So I think, so just so I make sure that I know your question, the objection was, doesn't feel right?
Yeah, there's a few objections in there. So it's like
Kids.
it's like this doesn't feel right, or it's too light, and then the one where it's like, oh, I'm not gonna buy it until my kids leave the house because they're just
Sure.
gonna lose it.
Yeah.
Or the oh, I don't really need flatware.
Okay, so first one, good questions, by the way. That doesn't feel right. I mean, just like I was talking about pre-framing, I don't they don't touch the flatware until I dive in and tell them how it's perfectly weighted. You know, you got to make sure that you tell them before they pick it up. This is not old school. It's not super heavy like old school stuff. It's perfectly weighted, not too heavy, not too light. It's gorgeous. So like you say that first, and then you hand them the big spoon, right? And they're like, oh, you're right. This is so pretty, and it's so perfectly weighted. They just repeat what you tell them. You know?
The funny thing about that, people are so non-confrontational. Like they will just they're easily influenced. So.
Yeah, they're trying to like bounce
It's like,
it on their fingers.
isn't this? Yeah, this is
Yeah.
great.
So that's how you do that. As far as the kids one, I mean, you can say that with anything. I tell my customers, like when I was growing up, my mom just had cheap flatware and she didn't really care about it. So I didn't care about it either. Right? So you're buying some expensive flatware, Mrs. Jones, you're going to care about this stuff, right? So will your kids. So like I use my kids as an example. They know this is like a $30 fork. They're not going to mess it, they're not going to screw it up or they're going to get in a lot of trouble. So it's the way that your customer is respecting it, as how their kids will respect it as well. The whole throwing out thing, like that happens no matter if it's a cheap spoon or an expensive spoon. So you don't have to do this, but I know a lot of the top reps, like we do this. We offer, like this is not part of the Cutco guarantee, but what I like to do for my personal customers, because I know this happens sometimes, but I'll cover up to the first 4 pieces that go missing. And that just gives, and that no one ever called me for it, but it gives them that like peace of mind that I have it, I could call if I needed to. And you can make a joke like, but if you call me with all 4 missing all at once, Mrs. Jones, I'm gonna know you're lying about it. Like make it fun, but that kind of handles the whole throwing out thing. Was there one more? Yeah. Was there
Sorry,
one
I'm
more
just writing
objection
down
then?
that line about crappy flatware.
Yeah, which one?
When I was growing up, we had crappy flatware. and my
Yeah.
mom-
So I always share, because you guys know personal stories, what's helped sell anything. So when I was growing up, my mom didn't really care much about the flatware. It was just cheap stuff. So I didn't really care about the flatware. So Mrs. Jones, if you're going to buy this expensive, beautiful flatware, I'm sure you're going to care about it, right? So will your kids. I think that's my line. Yep. That's great. Cool. Yeah, anything to add?
Got it. Almost. All right. Cool. Let's go ahead and move on. We got another question right over here.
This one's for Seth, and it's about gas stoves. How do you handle that client? It's like, I have a gas stove, can't use it.
Yeah, so actually that's the great thing about our cookware, Mrs. Jones. It actually is designed for every single stovetop. So it works on gas, electric, induction, right? By the way, Mrs. Jones, that's one of the best things about our cookware. If you're using gas, it's almost always the lowest setting. You're actually using less energy, right? Because gas burns hot. So and ours is like the number 1 rule with our cookware, Mrs. Jones, medium to low, you're good to go. So with gas, like literally in this book that's going to come with your cookware, like I referenced, I have a little Cutco book. Like this little book comes with it. It literally has pictures of what your flame will look like on medium, high, and low, right? It literally will show you what your flame will look like. And there's a little learning curve because every stove is different, right? So you might burn a few things. Mrs. Jones, it's okay. If you burn it, don't return it, right? This stuff is built like a tank. You can just use barkeeper's friend and steel wool. It literally won't hurt the cookware at all. So if you burn it, don't return it. It's super easy to clean. And then show them a picture of someone that burned it really badly and then like, yeah, this is the same pan.
Guys, one of the things that I really, really love about Seth and like Bert and like all these people that have these amazing cookware approaches is they're just like their commitment to simplicity with the customer. Because I feel like we do have like a tendency to want to overcomplicate things so that we sound knowledgeable, but like we have to find that line where it's like, hey, we're knowledgeable and we can tell you every single thing about this cookware, but also we're going to keep it simple for you because we know that you don't care that it's T304 magnetic steel or whatever. Like that doesn't matter, but like they care. Like he said, it's easy to use, easy to clean. It's built like a tank. It lasts forever. Like just making sure that you simplify it for the customer and make sure that you know and like prep them. It's like you're going to burn something and that's okay. That's fine. Like just setting proper expectations and keeping it simple is one of the biggest things that I've learned from these guys with the cookware.
So this is all fantastic, and one of the things that's been really helpful for me with cookware and the concept of helping your customers through that learning curve section and how they digest that and what you could do to help serve them during that time, because by buying that cookware and using the cookware, you get to go through that process of what it looks like to hone in your specific cooktop. So instead of thinking or communicating, this is going to be a learning curve, like you're going to mess up, like remember, if it's like people don't want challenges, they already have problems. So instead of being like, hey, there's a learning curve or anything like that, it's really just express to the customer, in order to get cookware that does things that you've never had, like in order to solve all the problems you've had before, the only transition you need to do is a week or two of honing in your specific cooktop, because every cooktop is different. Once you have your cooktop dialed in, you're literally good to go forever. So it's really not even, there's a learning curve or this or that, or, you have to understand how to, it's not even about preheating. It's about, hey, every cooktop is different. So the first 2 weeks, or, most people get this down in their first 2 to 10 cooks. So just give yourself a little bit of flexibility, set aside a couple bucks, to like go grab food if you burn something. No big deal. That's all it takes to unlock the best cookware for the rest of your life. And Josh Muller actually teaches them to take like a marker and just make a little dot on their stovetop, like on the what the temperature is, so they don't have to think about it anymore. Anyway, there's just a couple thoughts.
Yeah, no, it's just like you got to get your shower settings dialed in when you get to a new house. It's like you got to get your stove settings dialed in. So.
Great, just like your shower.
So. Yeah, you know where that line is. All right, so we'll go right here, and then we'll go there, and that should wrap us up.
All right, so this is all for all three of you. I want to say thank you for the talks because it's helped me today. The three of you and how you present it helps me understand we can sell kitchens at the booth, the complete kitchens. And, I've always been shy on the flatware. I've always been shy on the cookware, and I haven't been as gung-ho on the upgrades until today, so it's pretty cool. My question is, obviously I know it's possible to sell Cutco kitchens at a booth or at a home or anywhere else. The question I guess is this way, how many Cutco kitchens have we sold this past year?
Does anybody know that number of Cutco
how many
kitchens?
packages have we had from Ultimates with flatware, Ultimates with cookware, full cookware? I'm not trying to compare because I know comparison kills everything. It's like there's a quote someone said earlier about comparison. I'm not trying to compare. I'm not trying to limit my mindset. I'm just saying how in your past, how many of you have sold cookware? Have you sold bundles, packages? And how many of you have sold complete kitchens?
Yeah. So, what's your experience with selling these big bundle packages, and what's the mindset shift that gets you into that?
So just remember that people are spending this money at the home show. Like if they're either going to spend it with you or they're going to go spend it on a bathroom remodel or a kitchen remodel, right? They'll spend, or a hot tub or a stupid massage chair that they'll use 4 times and then never use again, and they'll finance it over 3 years, and they'll spend $5,000 on a stupid massage chair versus spending $5,000 on our amazing cookware that's literally going to change their life. Like, the whole point of, like, we get what we think about most of the time. So if you want to sell more kitchens, think about selling more kitchens. Burt Wicks last year was like, I've never sold a kitchen. He's never sold a kitchen before in his career. And like, think about it, manifest it. We get what we think about most of the time. And then in November, he sold his very first Cutco kitchen at the booth, full price, right? Why? Because we get what we think about most of the time. So if you want to sell more of a package, think about it, talk about it with every single person. I just sold a Cutco kitchen last week, and it was like, started off with the knives. I'd already kind of pitched him on the cookware, and he, after the knives, what do I do next? I'm like, hey, by the way, like, we're not just a knife company, we're a kitchen company. So like, a lot of people's ultimate goal is to have the Cutco kitchen, and I point to the backdrop. I'm like, it's like the best forks and spoons, the best cookware, the best knives. Never buy stuff again. It's the best $10,000 kitchen remodel you could do. By the way, Mrs. Jones, I spent $10,000 when I bought my house to put in cabinets that look prettier. They don't do anything better besides look prettier than the cabinets that were there before, right? And when I move to the next house, do I bring those $10,000 cabinets with me? No. They stay there, right? What do I do, though? I bring my $10,000 kitchen remodel, the Cutco kitchen, and I bring it to my next house. And no matter where I move, anywhere in the world, I'll always have it, right? So do you believe everyone should and could spend 10 grand with you, right? I was like, here's the thing, man. If you know you're going to get it all eventually, if you can swing the 2 grand, obviously it's not a small amount of money, but it's only 5 months, not 5 years, and you're never going to do it again. So do you believe it? Do you practice it, right? And do you do it, right? It's like, it's not rocket science. Like, if you want to sell more or something, talk about it all the freaking time with every single prospect, every single time. That's what Josh Mueller does. Every package, every customer, every time. Be committed, be disciplined to that, and you will sell your first one. And then that'll become a second one, and a third one, and a fourth one.
Yeah, it's kind of like what I said in my talk. Like, I started thinking every single person that comes up to the booth could potentially write me a check for 10 grand right now. So like, treating every single customer the same, no matter what they look like, no matter what they're saying. You got to think in your mind and have that confidence. This person could, if they really wanted to, right? Like Seth said, they're going to do it at the home show anyway and other stuff. So why not spend it with you? When I think about the kitchen, like top nuggets for selling kitchen is just really thinking, first off, get really good at selling cookware. If you can sell cookware, you can sell a kitchen. All right? So get really good at selling cookware. And honestly, selling kitchens is like an easier sell. It's faster. You don't get objections really. Like, I mean, you do, but not as many. Like a homemaker could take 10 minutes or 20 minutes. Kitchen could take 10 minutes. And like full price, because they get the concept, you know? American made, guaranteed forever, all matching, all forever, one and done. That's what you're selling. They don't need to know what each knife is used for, you know? So it's actually you don't do it as often because you got to have the right people, but when you have those people, it's a lot faster and way easier. But yeah, get good at selling cookware. Just believe that you can really sell a $10,000 package and just be promoting it to every single person, no matter what. I don't care if they came up, I have a broken knife, where do I send my knife back? Get them the info, get them that service request form. By the way, Mrs. Jones, did you know that we're rebranding ourselves? We're not just a knife company anymore, full-on kitchen company. You know, no matter what, always make sure you're promoting it and you'll sell more.
More Cutco is better, yes or yes? Yes. The reality is that people are going to spend money no matter what. If it's at the home show, if it's not at the home show. And the truth is that no matter what they spend that money on, it will seldom, rarely, if ever, have the return on investment be used as much, had as long as Cutco. So as their Cutco consultant, it is your job to help them maximize their return on that investment. We eat every day, so this is going to be used more than anything else in your life.
Wow. Yeah, and guys, like, I think there's the misconception that, like, you know, these folks are out here just slinging kitchens every week. And, I mean, I'm sure you would say it's not, like you had one recently, but, you know, it's not every week. So, 2, okay, sorry. One in Bahrain, because why not? But like I can just tell you from personal experience, it's like I've only sold like 4 or 5 kitchens in my career. A lot of them weren't even like the full kitchen, but just being more cognizant of it and making sure that I'm working on those skills, I can tell you that's shown me a lot more like, sets with flatware, and then like bundle packages of, cookware and knife sets. And like that's what it's about. It's about making sure that your axe is sharp the whole way down. And so whenever that client does walk up to you that is primed for a kitchen, you know exactly what to do and you have the confidence to tell them that this is a good investment. So, cool. Last question right here, and then we're going to wrap it up.
Okay, this is also for Seth. Thank you for your handouts, but how do I use these, and and which brands are they for?
Yes. So, like anything, if you don't have a special sheet, you should laminate those, and those should be on your clipboard. I have a specials like Bible, and it's thick, and it's like, why? Because if it's a package that we sell, then it's on a piece of paper, right? And it's official, right? If it's a package that we sell, it's on a piece of paper and it's official. It's not just this pie in the sky, like, oh yeah, like people sometimes buy 36 place settings. It's like this much money, right? Versus they're like, I have 12, 24, and 36 place settings on my flatware sheet, right? I have a full cookware set. So basically, to answer your question, that should go, if you have a binder, it should go right before the cookware prices. So like I have those 2 sheets. So I'm flipping through my book. I'll show them like, yeah, this, yep. So the Salad Master one I usually put first because that's the most expensive one. And then I flip from that one to the Royal Prestige one. And then from the Royal Prestige one to I have the Cutco like prospectus thing in there where it has like shows the 5 layers and stuff. And then I flip the next page and I'm showing them the Cutco full set, right? Those are the price comparisons. So in my script that I'm going to send you, right, when you email me, it literally says like do price comparison. So the script is basically gets you all the way up to the price comparison, and then it's like know why it makes sense for someone to buy the full set of the pans. But again, it doesn't they don't need to understand, like people understand what the pans are used for generally. It's not the same as like with knives where you're like, oh yeah, this knife's for this knife's like yeah, you have a small, medium, large saucepan, you have a small, medium, large fry pan. When you're doing more food, use a bigger pan. When you're using less food, use a smaller pan, right? It's like, it's pretty simple. And so you don't need to have every single thing, but you need to know for that one customer that's like, they need to be sold on it, you need to know all the pans. By the way, Josh has an audio where he literally walks through, I believe it's on YouTube, he walks through, right, names and uses on the cookware. Go freaking listen to that. Educate yourself, sharpen your axe. So that when you have that customer that's a banker that needs to know if they're going to use every single thing, you can do that. But then with the 90% of people, they don't care what comes in it so much as they're like, oh yeah, that makes sense, it's a complete set. I can't afford that, okay, so what's the smaller package? Okay, I can't afford that, what's the smaller package, right? By the way, the basic set, Mrs. Jones, was designed for people that basically want everything but just can't quite budget it. This is the smallest set that doesn't sacrifice any functionality. This is the smallest set we sell that doesn't lose any functionality, right? You don't need you don't need a large 12-inch fry pan when you have an 11.5-inch skillet. You don't need 4 saucepans. You really just need a large and a small saucepan, right? And the double boiler doesn't get used a ton. So those are the 4 pieces that we eliminated to get to this set. So it's the smallest set we sell that doesn't sacrifice functionality. And it's designed for those people that really want everything but can only budget this much.
Awesome. Cool. Thank you, guys. Let's give them one more round of applause. Alrighty. Cool. So, guys, we're about to go out, do a quick break, and then we're going to be right back in here while they reset the room. This is the last chance to talk to vendors. So if you have any orders that you wanted to wrap up, if you have anything that you wanted to look at, go see our vendors and make sure that you show them some love because they are spending a lot of money and a lot of time to be here. So go see them. We're going to be back in this room at 12:15. We are going to be getting rolling, at 12:30 with a message from Stacy Campbell, our DVM that is here with us. And then we also got Andy Jonty that's going to be wrapping us up. So let's go see the vendors, and we'll see you here in a little bit.